What's up, everyone? So today we're going to talk about daily chart patterns. I know that if you've been following me up to this point, you know that a lot of the setups that I like to take are based on intraday action. And I've really just analyzed my trading over the last little bit, and I've noticed that I kind of throw away a lot of trades by being overactive and paying attention a little too much to that intraday action. I'm not going back to the basics, where I've kind of strayed away from the basics a little bit, and I'm not focusing on daily chart first, and then look at a little bit of a higher time frame that's just under the daily chart, maybe like an hourly chart, and really focus on consolidation breaks and wait for price action to get very tight, because that's where large moves can come from. And when a stock has a large move, that's where trading options and follow through is there. And that's what it's all about. You know, just focusing on the same stocks each and every single day. And even when there's not daily chart patterns going on and it's just kind of randomness, that's where it's easy to overtrade like I have been recently. And then you look back and you realize there was no real setup there. It was just intraday price action, and I got caught up in the noise. So I'm going to go through some daily chart patterns and then even some stocks that I'm watching as far as this week, just based on daily chart first. And then that's why I like it. And then breaking it down on a little bit lower of a time frame, like an hourly chart, and then really just waiting for those consolidation breaks and the expansion out of the price action. And then when it does that, that's when I want to be involved. And these are the stocks that I'm watching next week, and not even next week, just basically until these levels get taken out at some point, if they do. So I'm looking at Tesla, Amazon, AMD, Apple, Snow, Coin, ARM, Roku, PayPal, CVNA, and SAVA. And the reason why I'm watching CVNA and SAVA is because their daily charts do look good, but they also have a bit of a catalyst, more of a fundamental one, high short interest. So if they get going to the upside and they clear out some resistance levels, that high short interest could cause a momentum move to the upside. Also, that list that you just saw, I posted this in the Alpha Academy on my Instagram. This is my Instagram, Matt_Diamond. Make sure to be aware of individuals who are requesting to follow you, who that name right there at the very top is slightly off. Maybe it has only one T, it has two underscores, maybe two I's, or a couple dashes in between. Those are scammers. This is my only Instagram account, Matt_Diamond. And if you want to go into that Alpha Academy where I post stuff like this, I do not only a morning watch list where I go over some of the stocks that I'm watching and the, just the levels and the SPY and the QQQ, but every now and then I'll post something that's a little bit more detailed, like that list that you just saw of the names and the levels. I posted it in the Alpha Academy. When you go onto my Instagram account or my Instagram profile, go at the very bottom. You'll see the Alpha Academy at the bottom of this screen right here. Click on that, join it, and you'll get my watch list every day, and then every now and then more detailed lists of technicals and stocks that I'm watching. So let's go over Tesla. Why is this one of my favorite stocks I watch? Because look at the price compression. This has been getting incredibly tight, frustrating longs, frustrating shorts. It's above the moving averages, and now it's starting to get in a pretty tight range above the 9 EMA. So if this has a move to the upside, the overall market has been very strong lately, so the path of least resistance seems to be to the upside. And regardless of whether or not this goes up or eventually breaks down, understanding that this is in a consolidation period, eventually it will choose a direction. So some of the levels that I'm looking at is not only this little trend line right here, but also looking at an hourly chart to the right. This 246.50 has been a pretty big area of resistance. If we can get above that, catch some momentum to the upside, Tesla could be in full-blown breakout mode out of the consolidation. That's key. Consolidation is key. And once we break out of consolidation, it has the potential to have an expansion move. And then also the prior high on the daily, 250.275. If we clear those upside levels out, also a very long-term, much more bigger idea trend line. If we break that to the upside, Tesla could be ready to go. And now Amazon, pretty simple chart pattern. We have a consolidation / bull flag pattern. A key level that I'm looking at, or a couple, is going to be this 148. It's been a really big area of resistance. If we can get above that, and then we clear out this trend line, forming that bull flag, the 52-week high is 149.26. And now AMD, and this is not necessarily the cleanest setup yet, but it has the possibility of setting up and being so. So I had a huge move a couple days ago on the 7th. And then we've had a little bit of a pullback, but still holding that move relatively well. We're above the short-term moving averages. prior day high is 131, and then the 52-week high is 132.83. If this can have a couple days of sideways consolidation, form a flag pattern, and then make a new 52-week high, that is a nice daily chart setup. And we've kind of been in a market right now that's been very strong, and stocks that are making new 52-week highs tend to get follow through. And now we got Apple, which is really just an all-time high break setup. And it's not there yet, but approaching all-time highs. It did have the bull flag pattern that it broke out of. So getting tight towards that 9 EMA, had the expansion move, and slowly just been grinding higher. And really looking at that 198.23. So this is just an all-time high pattern on the daily chart. If we end up getting up to that 198.23 and breaking through it on volume, that's going to be an area where I want to give this a shot for a long. And now snow, which is just consolidation on the daily chart. So you're going to see that a lot of these daily charts that I'm going over, they have a similar look. And that's what I need to start getting better at doing, being very picky. And those daily charts need to look a certain way before I even consider taking a trade on a name. And this snow chart looks pretty good. Look at this consolidation. Had a big move higher, and it's been holding this earnings gap ever since, going sideways in a tight period of consolidation. The 9 EMA is holding, and it's getting close to price. So we have a few different levels that I'm watching on this. Prior day high, 191.64. And then the prior pivot high, 192.66. Also, the 52-week high at 193.94. So if it starts to take these out, it could have a day where it just takes all of them out altogether because it's catching that momentum. And then anybody who's short from this candle here, short's got to cover, and then momentum players jump on board, and it just gets going one way pretty quickly. So if we end up clearing these levels out, it's going to be a consolidation break and a 52-week high setup that if it starts going in one direction, I'm going to look forward to trying to scalp this for some nice setups. And now coin, and really this is just a stock that the trend is your friend, clearly in an uptrend. Every pullback to the 9 EMA ends up getting bought. We had that pullback to the 9, it held, and now we're making a new high, or it looks like it has the possibility of making a new high. And if it does make a new high, that's just going to continuously be a new 52-week high, because this just keeps making new 52-week highs. And when it clears out prior resistance, this can catch momentum to the upside. So really, you got a bull flag pattern / a new 52-week high. Kind of already broke out of the bull flag, but now the 52-week high break. The levels I'm watching, 146.74, and then the actual 52-week high itself, 147.86. We clear that out to the upside, the momentum can continue. And now ARM, and this is probably one of my favorite daily stocks because look how clean this thing is. Had the IPO, had a 2-day push, pulled back, long period of consolidation, finally broke out of the consolidation to the upside, had a push, went sideways. So similar looking chart to the snow right now, kind of, where you have sideways consolidation, maybe frustrating both sides for a little bit, eventually clears out that prior pivot high, catches momentum to the upside on elevated volume. And now you have the IPO high at 69, also all-time high. So the levels that I'm watching is going to be prior day high, 67.44. We get above that, hold that, and then we clear out the IPO high, the all-time high at 69. This is a blue sky setup. Now let's talk about ROKU. Uptrend. This thing is in a very strong uptrend. Continuously just keeps holding the 9 EMA. It is now forming consolidation / a bull flag pattern, holding the 9 EMA above all other moving averages. So if we end up breaking out of this bull flag to the upside, we also have that prior pivot high at 108.40, which is a 52-week high. So you have the bull flag pattern and you have the 52-week high. So it's a pretty solid looking setup. And you can see on the hourly chart too, it's just getting tight to the upside. And the overall market has been strong to the upside. So unless this thing really starts breaking down, I want to focus long. And if we end up clearing out this bull flag pattern and we make a new 52-week high at 108.40, the momentum can continue. Now let's get into PayPal. This is not necessarily my favorite setup. I do have an alert set on this because it's not going to be something that I'm watching every single day. If I hear the alert go off, I will flip over to PayPal and check it out. But really just looking at this consolidation, it's not necessarily the cleanest, but it is going sideways. And we've had a little bit of resistance up right around this 60, call it from 60 to 60.50. And also PayPal has been very beat up on the daily chart. So it's holding the 9 EMA. If we end up clearing this prior pivot high to the upside, if we end up getting through that and then holding above that, it looks like this could catch a little momentum to the upside just because it has been so beat up. So this is a bit more of a, consolidation type of daily chart setup. And then if it does clear out this prior pivot high, there is the possibility that maybe it could test the 200 SMA on the daily at 65.03. And now let's go over CVNA. So similar looking chart, consolidation. Consolidation on daily charts and higher time frames like an hourly or a 30 is very important because those consolidation breaks can lead to outlier moves. So this CVNA is looking pretty good. Had a big 2-day move off 30, pulled back to the 90 MA, held the 90 MA, now it's going sideways, and then we have this prior pivot high. We clear out this prior pivot high. If anybody is short in the consolidation, they would have to cover, which could possibly start a momentum move to the upside. Also, this has very high short interest. I think the high short interest on this is like 35%. So you have that kind of fundamental thing going on where there is the high short interest. If we start clearing out some levels of resistance, there's a possibility of a short squeeze, and then it just gets going to the upside pretty quickly. So the levels that I'm watching on this is going to be prior day high, 41.34, and then also the prior pivot high, which really is the high of this short-term consolidation, which is going to be 42.12. We clear out those levels, stay above them. This could catch more momentum to the upside. And the last one on the list is this SAVA, Cassava Sciences, day one move on December 8th, the prior day. And then really this broke out of that consolidation. It still has this prior pivot high where if anybody is short above that, maybe it could trigger a short squeeze. Also, similar to CVNA, this has high short interest. So there is that fundamental issue where if it gets going in one direction, anybody who's short, they may want to cover, which could start, that squeeze to the upside for some momentum. So it looks pretty good, clearing out of that consolidation. It cleared most of it to the left. It still has a little bit to go. So the levels that I'm watching is going to be 24.84, which is prior day high, and then prior pivot high on the daily, which is kind of the high of this consolidation. If we end up clearing that out, 25.46 with the high short interest, this could really get going to the upside. So whether it be bull flag patterns, bear flag patterns, long periods of consolidation that break to the upside or the downside, I think focusing on stocks that have those kind of patterns on the daily chart first, before even looking at anything on a lower time frame, is going to be the best way to go and will increase the probability of the trades that you take. I know that that's something that I'm working on from here on out because sometimes I can get caught up in every little movement on like the same 4 stocks that I watch every day. And the outcome with that can be a lot of chop versus just being patient, waiting for those daily charts to set up. And when they do, that's when I want to be involved. So that was it for the video. I appreciate you watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.